Hello, scholars. This is day 3 of the writing process. And as you know, after we plan our writing, our job is to make sure that we can write an actual rough draft. So I have went ahead and planned my rough draft, and I want you to think about the way that I'm color coding it to show the 3 pieces of a paragraph. We have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. First, I'm going to look within my introduction. That's the first part of my paragraph to find 2 different things. I'm looking for a hook and I'm looking for a topic sentence. Okay? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. When I set up my paper, I'm going to make sure that I introduce my topic by having a title and 2 finger spaces, an indent at the beginning of my paragraph, and only on that first line. Just like that, that's how you would make those 2 finger spaces and then start writing on the other side. That's called our indent. The next piece is my hook. So let me see. I should have a hook in my first sentence. This can be a question that you ask your reader. Have you ever heard of the scientists who could communicate with monkeys? That definitely is getting people interested. They might want to know who that is and how that person communicated with monkeys. Then it says, let me tell you about her. That's kind of part of the same thing. I'm just answering the question. And then here I introduce the actual person I'm talking about. So this is my topic sentence. So I say, her name is Jane Goodall, and I'm going to describe her childhood, her job, and what she learned as a scientist. Those are my 3 different topics within my writing. So those should connect to the body of my text. But right now I'm just telling them, hey, I'm about to tell you about these 3 things, her childhood, her job, and what she learned as a scientist. Okay, so that should be the end of my introduction. So this whole part right here, introduction. Then I'm starting my body, which I have in blue at the top. In my body, I'm looking to have 3 details describing facts, the real information about my person. Of course, you can go beyond that and make it more exciting by extending your details with some examples, which I will show you in just a moment. My first detail should be about her childhood. So I started with the transition words during her childhood, and you can do the same in your writing. Jane was always studying how animals act. Okay, and then I wanted to give an actual example of what that might look like. So I said, for instance, she would collect worms and watch chickens lay eggs. So this is one detail with an example to go with it. Okay, so these 2 pieces go together. Now I'm going to tell about a different detail. So that had to do with her childhood. This should have to do with her job. When she grew older, so that's my transition because she didn't get a job until she grew older. She finally got her dream of going to Africa. This does have to do with her job because that's where she got the job. Here she got a job studying chimpanzees. There we go. That's her job. Check that one off. Then I used the word as she studied. I used those words to show that this next part happened while she had her job studying chimpanzees. So that's still a transition word. I need to tell about what she learned as a scientist next. As she studied them, she got them to eat out of her hand, and she learned that they make tools. So hey, that's something she learned. This was my third detail. She changed the way that people studied animals by watching them in the wild instead of in cages. That's also part of that detail because she learned that it was helpful to study them in the wild and not in just cages so that you could really learn about how they really act with each other. Then that was my body with 3 details and some examples. Finally, we like to wrap up our writing with a conclusion. So you would have chosen one of these transition words during our planning yesterday, but you can start with all, in conclusion, overall. As you can see, those are all good options to show them that you're wrapping up your writing. All in all, Jane Goodall became a scientist even when people told her she couldn't do it. She's incredible. So I remember from the text how they said because she was a girl, girls don't become scientists. So I just wanted to make it obvious that, like, she's a pretty incredible person. She didn't listen to that. Then you can, that would be a summary sentence summing up everything that you just talked about and just reminding them who you're talking about. So that person that I'm talking about again is Jane Goodall, and I let them know she was a scientist. Those are really the main parts of this piece of writing. Those need to be in my summary sentence for my conclusion. Then I can move on to giving some of my opinion or how I feel about the person at the end. This is not opinion writing, but at the end of informational writing, often authors will do this. They will say a little bit about the feelings that this person or topic gives them. So you can start this with a wish or a hope. I wish, this doesn't make sense. I wish I could achieve my dream someday too. So even as I'm reading it to myself, I notice I made a mistake. So you can always fix those as you go. But I wish I could achieve my dream someday too, because she got her dream of going to Africa and studying animals, which is pretty phenomenal. I really liked learning about her. I hope that was clear through my writing. I can't wait to see what you learned about the person that you studied. Show me your rough draft and make sure you have that introduction, body, and conclusion. You can even color code it like me if you have some colors at home to show me the different parts. All right, do your best.